Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel for war number 4 of season 44, and today we have a matchup against GT40, a very difficult war for us every season. Team today going in with Void as usual, Absorbing Man, and Tony returning to war. Pretty excited to have Tony on the team once again. We're starting off today on path number 6. We have a Dragon Man here on node number 6. With a bunch of nodes that don't really do anything here. Spiked armor would normally be a concern, however, with the attacker tactic, we are going to be taking 0 damage from spiked armor because Dragon Man is a tactic defender, therefore we're going to be having 5 withers up on him pretty much the whole time here. And between the withers and the petrify, his power gain is going to be not a problem at all. So we're going to intentionally take that special one on the block to get the ineptitude on us. And the goal here is really just to finish this fight at a full yellow bar because we have a couple of tricky fights later on with Void, and I really didn't want to heal him up at all. Healing up Ascended Boosted Void is very painful, and it's very, very expensive to do. At least for the time being, until we hopefully fix the potion economy at some point. So, yeah, nothing else really going on here. We've got a lot of debuffs up on him. He is absolutely melting away, and there we go. Full yellow bar finish. Very happy with that. So next up we have this kitty on 15. You notice I have the node there highlighted in yellow. So originally I was assigned Iron Man for this fight. However, the node in this map is actually incorrect. It's supposed to be Insurance Policy Flourish, which means every time you invalidate or remove one of her prowess, it's going to give her a flourish buff, but instead it's Insurance Policy Power, which gives her like half a bar of power every time you do that. So I didn't really feel like using Iron Man was safe on this fight, and nobody had caught it until I had actually joined. So we talked through it and decided to go in here with Void. It's not a bad matchup, but it's also not really like an ideal matchup, because, you know, on Aggression Prowess, anytime she turtles up, she gets, you know, 3 of those passives, and then she's phasing, and it's very difficult to kind of get her out of that unless you push her above a bar of power. So I'm just trying to be, you know, as aggressive as possible without hitting into her phase. I think I get parried at some point here, baiting out a heavy right here, yeah. And then I was able to dex out of it before she nailed it with a special one, thankfully. You know, I'm Incinerate immune, so it might not have hurt that bad, but, you know, she had like 6 or 7 prowess at that point. And there we go, I take another combo, so my indestructible boost is gone here. Another kind of pain point with this fight using Void is when she's phased, she's taking no damage, of course. So all of my debuffs do nothing while she's phased, as you can see right here. So just kind of baiting out the special ones here, and then, you know, again, she's already phased again from the Aggression Prowess node. So, you know, costing me some potions there, not ideal, but, you know, it is what it is. Alright, up in Section 2 we have an Adam Warlock on 24. I had the option of bringing in Mojo for this fight, and I really wanted to do that, but, you know, the hold block prompt for Mojo doesn't really work well with Adam, and you can't use your special 1 with Mojo on Adam in this fight because you get punished if you nullify any of his buffs. So Carl was the safer choice here. However, I didn't really count on Adam being so passive, as you're going to see. We're just getting... you know, we're stuck back in, I don't know, what do you call it, regular man form, I guess. And it's not like problematic because we don't need our form for immunities or anything here. We're just missing out on all that extra burst damage that we would normally have by being in our form and then, you know, later on in our refined form. So again, similar to the last fight, I'm just trying to stay as aggressive as possible. Adam's not cooperating very much, plus, you know, the stasis pod wastes a lot of time too every time you push into that special 2. So right here we get back into Uru, and I'm close to a bar of power here, so I'm going to fire off the striker, and then I'm going to heavy cancel into the special 1 for some nice damage there. All those hits crit, of course, from the increased precision, and the fight is pretty much over at this point. He's going to activate the pod for a second time, but we've got plenty of time left on our form here, and then I'm going to special intercept to keep and re-refine Uru form, and again, this is a pretty easy fight. As long as you don't let him hit into your block a few times, you can take Adam with pretty much anybody here. Alright, we have a Sauron here on 33. This is the only Iron Man fight I'm going to have this war. Iron Man, maybe my favorite, or maybe second favorite behind Viv, counter to Sauron. He's just so good. So on this node, if Sauron has more than 3 prowess, his special attacks will all be unblockable, which is fine because Tony can block unblockable specials from mutant champions, and that works very much in his favor here, because parrying those special attacks is going to give him those pauses on his armor up. So I did a bunch of duels for this, and you're noticing that I'm not punishing the special one when I am blocking or parrying rather the special one. In my duels it was like 50-50 whether I would get parried or not, so I just decided to play it safe. Getting the pauses was much more important than trying to punish and getting back to a combo much faster here. So we have 5 pauses now. We've got the arc reactor active. I take a couple hits there. That is really unfortunate because otherwise the fight was going absolutely perfectly. And these special ones are doing a crap load of damage. There we go, 17k medium to finish the fight. Really, really happy with that one. Alright, we have 3 mini-bosses this war, and the first one is this thing on 39. We've taken this node a few times already this season, but I don't think we've seen thing here before. The strategy is pretty much the same here. Just be careful with your dexes when you're triggering Power Snack. It does kind of work in your favor here with Thing because it's easier to push him to his specials if you get in trouble with the rock stacks. But once we get the Petrifies up, it's really not going to be a problem at all. And then, I'm trying to pay like, maybe 75% attention to the Power Stings from one too many hits. And again, the damage from those Power Stings is very little, especially with a boosted health pool here. So I'm not terribly fussed about it if I do get some damage on myself. I'm really mostly focused on managing Thing's power level and managing his rock stacks. That's much more important here. So hitting into his block to create space and giving him extra stacks. One more combo here will push him to 15, and then we can get him to dump some power here and be in a position to throw another special one here. And I'm able to time the special one pretty perfectly here so that the debuff is applied right after Fear of the Void trigger, so we don't waste any of the special one. And at this point, the fight is well under control, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, let's trigger some Power Stings on myself and hopefully heal up that last, 3% of our health pool so that I don't have to top up with a potion for my next 2 fights. And I think we do manage to do it on our final combo. The willpower healing brings us back to a full yellow bar. Pretty happy with that fight. Alright, so these next 2 fights are not my best Void gameplay. Very sloppy, especially the Killmonger one, but we're starting off with Mysterio here. So my strategy going into this fight was I didn't really want to be bothered to deal with the Falter, so I was going to not use any special attacks and just trigger that Vigilance buff on Mysterio once. He has no other natural buffs. So if I just wait out the Vigilance and either do the counter with the heavy or the special attack to avoid the Falter, and then just use no more special attacks, I figured that I could get through the fight. We have enough debuffs up on him that we're not going to be taking any of the reflect damage. However, the real problem on this fight with Mysterio is the power efficiency node, as you're going to see. So I'm trying not to push him to the special 2, because if we get power drained, then there's a chance that we can re-trigger that Vigilance buff on him, and then it's going to be a bad time. But you can see the special one is pushing us very far back, and I didn't account for the Unstoppable because I wasn't heavying him enough. So now, I'm feeling myself getting pushed back into the corner. We're at 3 bars of power, but we have now we have the power drain on us, and as long as this doesn't take us below a bar of power, we're going to be safe here. So it drains like, what, a bar maybe? But we stayed aggressive while it was active, so it didn't cost us too much. And then I think I get nailed with a heavy at some point here and get the poison on me. Right there, yeah, I don't know what happened there. So we're in the corner. He is at close to 3 bars. Thankfully, he tosses that special 2, and now we're just kind of, playing in the corner and hoping that our debuffs do enough damage. Fear the Void triggers at a really inopportune time, but thankfully we are able to get him down. So again, very sloppy, but that is a very difficult fight, so, it is what it is. Last fight of the war for me is one of my worst Void fights of all time. So at the start here, I forget about Stunning Reflection. We get comboed twice, and I start taking Brute Force damage. So right away, 10 seconds in, we've got over a third of our health gone. More problematic is the fact that my Reed pre-fight debuffs are about to expire and I wasn't able to refresh them, and I was counting on those early on in the fight to eliminate the reverb damage that I would be taking from Killmonger here. So we get comboed again. We are down to 50% health just 30 seconds into the fight, and we've barely scratched him. I still don't have enough debuffs up on him to eliminate the reverb damage. Right there, we finally get our third and fourth debuffs up. So now we're good in the reverb department, but we are backed up here. And as we continue to apply debuffs to him, because the petrifies aren't up yet, we're going to be just giving him more and more power here. So just, an all-around really sloppy fight here. This was all on me. I should have prepped more for this. Forgetting about Stunning Reflection is inexcusable. But I definitely should have used like a Power Start 1 boost here in order to try and keep those Reed pre-fight debuffs active. So that's definitely on me. And it gets worse, by the way. I don't end up dying, but I come very close to dying in this fight here. So we're just trying to, again, keep as many debuffs up as possible here. Killmonger isn't a tactic defender, so we don't have to worry about him going unstoppable unless we hit into his block, of course. And I'm kind of aware at this point that Fear the Void is about to trigger and we're going to lose our debuffs and start taking more reverb damage. Right there I got Stun Reflected again. I have no idea how that happened. I must have like accidentally triggered a parry when I was trying to dex out of his attack or something. It looks pretty dire at this point, 15% health. Just trying to stay on top of it, trying not to panic, trying to take as little block damage as possible because he really does hit hard through the block. And at this point, I feel much more confident that we're going to get out of here with the victory. One more combo, and that is about as bad as it could get without me dying. So, yeah, glad I could clutch that out somehow. Unfortunately, we did not go on to win this war. No surprise there, GT40, the best of the best. 7 kills, 0 deaths, and our record falls to 3-1 on the season. Hopefully we don't have many more Void Wars like that one. I much prefer the ones like we had in Wars 1 through 3, so we'll see how it goes. Folks, if you enjoyed this, please let me know by hitting that like button, and as always, thank you very much for watching. See you again next time.